Good morning from the beautiful sunny shores of Lombok. Well, not too sunny for this morning, but we are here for the final race day of round 4 of the FIM Idemitsu Asia Road Racing Championship. Today's the final race day of the 3-day race weekend. We're going to have warm-ups that's about to happen right now for the morning session and race 2 later on this afternoon. A quick recap of what happened yesterday in the Underbone. Once again, it was an impressive performance by Fahmi Bassam, Akid Aziz in second, and of course missing from action was Nazrul Izzat due to injury that he sustained on Friday's practice. In the TVS Asia 1 make, it was once again Hiroki Ono, dominant as ever. 250s, the battle gets really interesting now. It's a real scrap for the Astro Honda Racing riders because they didn't get the best results, so today's another time for redemption for them. In the 600s, it was quite the battle, and Veda Iga, after Adinanta Putra having to pick up a penalty, so he drops by 4 seconds, so he goes down into 4th place. Veda gets handed now his first podium in the Super Sport 600 class. So Super Sport 600 getting interesting as always. Azroy back on form, and in the thousands, it was such a battle. Soichiro Minamoto qualified on pole but could not make it stick. And Lachlan Epis, his first podium. Hafiz Sharin went with the medium front but could not make it last until the end of the race. So many talking points for this weekend, and we get to live it all once again today for race 2 later on this afternoon. For now, let's get to the warm-ups.
Let me add my morning greetings. This is Barry Russell in the commentary box. No doubt Daniel will be yomping up the stairs to join me very shortly. But as Daniel was saying, we had so much drama, so many talking points. We will be going through some of those as we keep our eye on the warm-up sessions this morning. This is a 10-minute session to begin with for the TVS Asia One-Make Championship. But compared to the end of the first half of the season, which was last time out in Motegi, we have some very different looks to the championship positions in the different classes. Perhaps not so much this one, TVS Asia One Make, because Hiroki Ono, the absolutely, well, it's fair to say unbeatable since he joined the series in round 4 last year. Hiroki Ono once again took a victory. There he is, just at the head of this group there, carrying the number 2 on the front of his bike. He took another win, but he had to work pretty hard for it yesterday. This time the margin of victory was a lot tighter. In fact, it was 0.4 of a second. When we came here last year, just under 12 months ago, in fact, he won race 1 by more than 5 seconds. This time it was 0.4 of a second from Ramdan Rosli, the Malaysian rider who's been keeping him honest all year, but hasn't quite managed to overcome the brilliant Japanese rider who turned 32 just earlier this month. Running together with him in the orange helmet and the number 10 on the front is Rishi Takehira. Rishi Takehira really mixed it up yesterday at the front of the field. It was a really close competitive race. Rishi in the end finished 5th. Podium finishers behind Hiroki Ono were Ramdan, who was P2, and Sartak Chavan, the brilliant young Indian who finished 3rd. Then it was Chiran Vishwanath, so it's Indians in 3rd and 4th, getting better all the time. Then Rishi Takehira, and then Vorapong. And there was just 1 second covering Hiroki Ono in 1st to Vorapong in 6th. So that bodes well for an exciting race this afternoon. On screen there is Rocco Sessler, the German rider. German, as you can see from the flag on the front of his helmet. Rocco Sessler has had a good weekend, featuring near the front. He ended up 7th yesterday, 5 seconds down, so he was the best of the rest after that group of 6 that led the race. But as we go with this TVS series, the races are getting closer. There are more and more fast riders at the front. Nice spread between young riders like Rosso. He's 15 years old. And that's his race number, you can see on the screen. Not his age, but he is 15 years old. And of course, Hiroki Ono, who is almost old enough to be his dad. Morapong, also one of the more experienced riders. And Ramdan Rosley. Ramdan Rosley, for me, one of the most impressive riders in this category, just because he has been chasing and chasing and never giving up. In the first 6 races that we've had this season, never giving up the chase on Hiroki Ono. And he came so close yesterday, leading the race at different stages, but then just not quite getting to the line first. Looking at there, the number 9 of Sartak Chavan, that's the bike in front, rider with the green helmet. Behind him is the only regular Indonesian rider in the TVS Asia One-Make Championship, Dekitiano Aldi. In fact, he's been in this championship since the first year in 2022. This is the 3rd season for the Indian-based manufacturer. And as well as developing lots of new young riders, making the spectacle more and more competitive. The bikes have been improving as well. They've gotten lighter, they've got more power, and these bikes really are light. Just looking at them on screen, they look bigger than AP250s or Moto3 machines, but they're really light. Lots of carbon fibre in them. These are really quite special race machines. Really, oh, it's going to be cheeky, I call them homologated race machines. So here we go, that's Sartak having a look round behind him. Good to see Sartak on the podium yesterday. He has been quick all year. He hasn't been that consistent with his finishes. He unfortunately had a jump start in race 2 in Motegi for round 3. Had a ride-through penalty for that. He didn't see the notice telling him to come in, so he didn't come in time and got disqualified. So it was nil point for Sartak last time out, but he's really making up for that this time. That's Warapong. Sorry, that's Muzakia. There are 3 yellow helmets there, but he's carrying the number 1. By virtue of the fact that he is the defending champion, he's had injury issues this year, which have hampered him somewhat. Muzakia Mohammed, very popular winner of the title last year. Hand up there, but he's been suffering particularly from collarbone injuries, and he's not at his sparkling best, or hasn't been at his sparkling best, it's fair to say, so far. We'd like to see the defending champion coming through strongly once again. Now looking at the standings, Hiroki Ono, 6 wins, that means 25 points for a win. Therefore, without looking at a calculator, that's 150 points. Ramdan Rosley, who has never given up, he's scored, well, this is the finishing order for this year. From round 1, 20 points for 2nd. In race 2, he finished 5th. China, he was 2nd. Round 2, there's only 1 race there. Round 3, he was 3rd and 3rd. And here at Mandalika in race 1, he was 2nd yesterday. So really good, consistent finishes. Only a win missing. What can they do about it today? Hiroki Ono had his work cut out yesterday, making a poor start and spending the first lap in 6th position. There is number 2, Hiroki Ono. Number 14 behind him is wildcard Sharul Amin, the Indonesian. 2 Indonesians here. Sharul Amin just in as a wildcard for this race. but there is Hiroki Ono. And looking at the timing screens, because the checkered flag is going to come out now to end this 10-minute session. Fastest lap looks like, well, maybe it looks like Hiroki Ono, just to keep his record consistent. He's going to pop in a quick one right at the end. Let's wait and see. This may not be a quick lap. Ramdan Rosley's got the fastest time so far. Then Hiroki Ono, then Rocco Sessler, then Muzakia, Chirag Vishwanath, another promising Indian rider in 5th, Vorapong 6th. Let's just watch Hiroki Ono. This will be his final time around. Hiroki Ono in the final sector now. Here he comes through the long loop. Turn 15 becomes turn 16. Long time on the right side of the tyre. Now he picks it up, flicks it to the left, then he's into turn 17. And off he goes towards the line. It's a decent lap, 45.7, but that does leave Ramdan Rosley as the fastest rider in this session. And we'll see those results pop up in a moment, once all the riders have come past the checkered flag. Daniel said in his opening, the weather, we've got lots of cloud cover today, who knows what will happen, but we know what happened in this 10-minute warm-up session. Ramdan Rosley finished second yesterday. His best time was a very good 1:45.363. Hiroki Ono was next up. Then the young German Rocco Sessler. Defending champion Muzakia Mohammed was 4th. 5th was Chirag Vishwanath. 6th Vorapong Malawan. 7th Rish Takahira, the brilliant young Japanese rider. And Ati Kanger, the very promising Thai rider, was 8th quickest. And as for the rest, Sartak Chavan, 3rd yesterday. He was 9th fastest in warm-up. Dekichano Aldi was 10th. Kim In-jae, the Korean rider, was 11th. 12th, Kewei Ahmed from India. Irvin Eksan from Singapore was 13th. And 14th, the Indonesian wildcard, Sharul Amin. So that's it for the warm-up session for TVS Asia 1 make. Next up will be the Underbone 150s, and my goodness, we've got a lot to talk about in that 10-minute session, which will be coming up in about 7 minutes from now. So we're going to take a short break, take a look up at the sky to see if we can predict anything. From the commentary box, I'm facing the Indian Ocean. Can't see it, but I'm facing it. And it looks like thick cloud cover, but not threatening rain at the moment. But there's a long way to go. So stay with us, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back it will be with the warm-up session for the Underbone 150s. We're at Pertamina Mandalika International Circuit for round 4, day 3 of the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship.
So one of our exciting partners for the FIM Idemitsu Asia Road Racing Championship this season and for the next 3 years is Indian Oil, and we're going to show you where the refueling happens for the bikes. So over here you can see the cans of petrol that are waiting to be used in the bikes. So this is how we standardize the octane for all the riders and machines, and this is the refueling station. So we have all the petrol measured out in these tins, and they get filled up right here on the bikes before they get wheeled back out. And this is all measured. Every team has their own measurement for the amount of liters they need for a race. They'll calculate it, and then they'll get exactly the amount that they need from Indian Oil. And it's really an exciting partnership between Indian Oil and FM Idemitsu Asia Road Racing Championship, and it's been a really good partnership so far. So this is the process, exactly measured to what they need and filled up into the tank, ready to go for warm-up, race, qualifying, and most importantly, race 2 later on this afternoon. We'll catch you on track.
Welcome back to Pertamina Mandalika International Circuit here on the gorgeous tropical island of Lombok in Indonesia. We are here, of course, for round 4 of the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship, and we have a big group of bikes coming out on track for a 10-minute warm-up session for this Sunday morning. And we certainly saw a big group competing for the win yesterday. At one stage during race 1 yesterday afternoon, it looked as though anyone of the 20 starters could have taken a win. In the end, there was some attrition on the final lap as riders fought for position and sometimes got caught up through no fault of their own in other people's errors or over-enthusiasm. But the big story here this weekend is that on Friday, unfortunately, Nazrul Izzat Bahudin, who came in to round 4 as the championship leader with a 14-point cushion, has been declared unfit to ride. Got a cracked left wrist and tweaked his collarbone as well, so he's been declared unfit to ride. So he's not competing this weekend. And that means, unfortunately for him, that he lost his championship lead yesterday to the very much in form Akid Aziz. We knew it was going to be a battle, or we expected it was going to be a battle between Nazrul and Akid for supremacy in the standings. As it turned out, Nazrul was not there. And not quite the worst thing happened that could have happened from Nazrul's point of view, but Akid Aziz finished second, and already going off there is 2 times former Underbone champion Gubita Krishna, who's gone off in the cool conditions. By cool, I mean air temperature now around 25 degrees, track temperature 34.5. So an early what have I just done moment for Gubita Krishna, unfortunately, but it is only warm-up and the bike looks absolutely fine. The 22 going through there is his teammate for 4S1M. That's the Filipino, John Emerson Ingito. And coming through are those 2 blue and yellow bikes you can see are of Faris Putra and Azrul Sham of Cardinals Racing. Always in the mix, those 2, yesterday. Who's the best of them? Faris Putra was one of the riders involved in the last lap mayhem, it's fair to say, for this Underbone field. It was such a crowded field. Faris Putra, who looked so promising, fell at the last, so he'll be looking for better things today. Faris is the number 33, Basrul is the number 11. Faris aged 15. I'm not sure of Basrul Sham's age, but he's in that area where he's almost old enough to be Faris's father. So they have a really good relationship. The brilliant, always there or thereabouts, Basrul Sham, and the exciting number 33, Faris Putra, full of promise for the really accomplished Cardinals team, the Malaysian team. Here is a rider, 177 and 17. 17 is Masato Fernando. Close running there between the 2 Cardinals riders, and there is a big gaggle of riders. It was such a crowded race yesterday. Some of the aerial shots we saw looking down were absolutely stunning. Apart from the woes of Nazrul Izzat, the first World Championship leader, the other thing we've seen is some brilliant wild cards and a really strong replacement rider in the shape of Ricky Ibrahim, who came in for Yamaha LFN HP 969 Indonesia. This huge Indonesian Underbone team who put out so many absolutely brilliant riders. Ricky Ibrahim turned out to be the best of them yesterday. He finished third. As a replacement rider, he did an amazing job, put himself on the podium. The winner, I haven't mentioned yet, but we'll see him on screen very soon. Easy to spot machine, and number 222 was Fahmi Bassam. Fahmi started from 10th on the grid. Made the Super Pole cut yesterday, the shootout for the first 10 grid places, but unfortunately broke down on his flying lap. So he started from 10th, but over the course of the 8-lap race, well, he very quickly put himself into contention at the front, and then when it mattered, got himself into the right position to take a win by the handsome margin of 73 hundredths of the second. So about a wheel from Akir Aziz, who just misjudged his way round the final, really challenging turn 15, 16, and then the flip left to 17, which is really difficult. The track is so wide, there's so many lines, you have to get it absolutely just right, and Akir admitted that it was his error. I might beg to differ. I think it was a brilliant and aggressive move by Fahmi Bassam to cut off the options to Akir Aziz and take the win. Number 36, Shafiq Rosli for Uma Racing, Maju Motor. That's the Malaysian part of the Uma Racing team. There's a Filipino part as well. We were just looking then at the number 143, 143 of Husni Zainal Fauzi. There he is. Oh, there's the number 178. Let's stay with him for a moment. That's Kiki Sudirman, one of many strong wildcards that's come in here. And the number 42, Hafid Pradamaditya, who's a wild card, and the third bike racing for Waiwaji Trilaksana's team, Racetech 60. Hafid picked up a point yesterday for 15, but he was there or thereabouts all the way through, and 15th means he was just 3 seconds off the winning race time of Fahmi Bassam. There is yesterday's winner, 222, on the LFN Yamaha with the orange helmet there, just flicking left into the final turn. Here they come across the line to complete another flying lap. This is a 10-minute session, there's 1 minute left, so the next time these riders come around, because the lap times are around 1:55, the checkered flag will be out. So if any of them are fighting for psychological advantage, then now is when they're going to be doing it. And this is a really high quality group of riders. The purple and black, that is Kiki Sudirman leading that group at the moment. Alif Daniel Asri, a replacement rider in this weekend. He's the number 18. Behind him, the number 14 is the regular rider and the sole tie rider in this category, Pirapong. Didn't have such a good race yesterday. And going through there is the number 17 machine of Dirat Sauki of GG Galak X GDT Racing Team. Get my award for the weekend for the most attractively named team. It's long but nice and easy to say. Number 69 there is the bike of Aldiaz Axal, another of the brilliant wildcards that's come in this weekend. Brilliant wildcard we saw this time a year ago in round 4 at Mandalika. was Idemitsu FIM, who came in as a wild card for Racetech 60 and took a P7 in race 1 and a P4 in race 2. And he is partnering Wayu Aji Trilaksana in the 2024 campaign. That's it, the checkered flag's out. That is the end of the session. And it looks like the fastest rider around, and it really is a pretty impressive time. 153.953 is for the LFN replacement rider. Sorry, just watching these riders coming across the line here. So it's Ricky Ibrahim, the replacement rider for LFN, who the quick riders just behind him. So there he is, doing a fantastic job as a replacement rider for Yamaha LFN HP 969. Ricky Ibrahim, second. And second yesterday in race 1 was Akid Aziz for Pittsbike One Way JRT Tech 2. Dimas Juliet Moko had bad luck, one of the people taken out on the last lap for Team One for All. Third, fourth, Murabel Vitoni. Fifth, Afid Pradamaditya, the wildcard in for Racetech 60. Aldiaz Axel, another of the brilliant wildcards in 6th. 7th, Ahmad Fajrul Sham. And 8th, Idemitsu FIM. 9th, Faris Putra Padil. Rekat Yusuf for SCK Honda was 10th. 11th, Afid Faril Rasyadan for SCK Honda. Shafiq Rosli for Uma Racing was 12th. 13th, Pirapong Lubin Peng, 155.55 for him. Kiki Sudaman Manurung for JPNW Racetech was 14th. 15th was the Racetech Team Supremo, Wayuaji Trilaksana. 16th, Rizal Firiadi for Mirak Racetech. Alif Daniel for Uma Racing was 17th. 18th, John Emerson Ingito, down on a 156.399. Giancarlo Maurizio, Uma Racing Philippines, 19th. Chira Chiaki was 20th. Masato Fernando down in 21st. Fahmi Bassam down in 22nd for the number 222, yesterday's winner. And we're not done yet. So 23rd was Husni Zainal Fauzi, another Yamaha LFN HP 969 rider. And Gubita Krishna for 4S1N, we saw have a problem early on the outlap. No time for him, and no time either for Akid Aziz's teammate in the Pittsbike One Way JRT Tech 2 team, Afif Amran. That's it, we're done with the Underbone 150s. Daniel Bogas is down in pit lane, stalking around looking for stories, as he does with such brilliance. So I'm going to take a break for 6 or 7 minutes, and when we come back, it will be for the warm-up session for the AP250s. And my goodness, what a race we had yesterday. More of which later, so stay with us. We are coming to you live from Mandalika for the final day of 3 for the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship Round 4. Stay with us.
Idemitsu IRG5. Start like a rocket and ship like silk with Superbike proven nano-tailored oil. Ultra protective Quintec guard technology distills the wisdom of oil experts. 5 protective benefits in harmony unleash the peak performance of your engine. Nano Silky Tech ensures extra smooth upshifting at high RPM. Rocket starts, silky shifts. Idemitsu IRG5. Idemitsu IRG.
We are back here at Pertamina Mandalika International Circuit. This is Sunday morning and we're watching the warm-up sessions. Coming out onto the circuit now is the 27 rider field for the AP250 class. And if we were talking about brilliant wildcards in the Underbone race yesterday, there are plenty of them here. Not the least of which was yesterday's race winner, Ray Ratakore, who came in having put a team together, Yamaha Yamalube RRS. Ray Ratakore, whom we haven't seen for a few seasons in ARRC, but he made a very welcome return. He looked as though he wasn't going to be competitive for a win based on Friday free practice and even qualifying, but in the race he was right up near the front and in the end pulled his way through, made a brilliant move on the last turn to take the win. So other wildcards that featured were for Yamaha Racing Indonesia, Chandra Hermawan, who ended up 5th yesterday. And interesting, although they're still at the top of the standings, the Astra Honda duo of Kiandra Ramadipa and Herjan Atna finished down in 6th and 7th. So championship lead reduced a little bit. That is Chandra, the number 88 on your screen there. Number 40 going through for Antares Racing is Shunchen Zhang, one of 3 Chinese riders. There's 3 Chinese riders and a Hong Kong rider going through there, just coming into the middle of your screen with the blue leathers and yellow sleeves. It was yesterday's race winner, Ray Ratakore. Just ahead of him, he's got Kevin Quintal, who seemed to be having some bike problems this weekend. He couldn't make it out for qualifying, but in the race came through, just see, came through to 19th. So a bit of a struggle this weekend for the number 11 for Idemitsu Honda Racing India. He's got Ray Ratakore just behind him. Going through there, number 17, Mohsin Paramban, his teammate. Finished 22nd yesterday, but the competitiveness of the race all the way through was absolutely phenomenal. In the end, 2 seconds covered the first 10 finishers. In fact, in 10th place was another brilliant wild card who seemed to have some problems later in the race, but that was Irfan Ardiancia, who's riding for the Malaysian team, SCK Honda. But he did a fantastic job. Here we're looking at Ray Ratakore being tracked there by Kevin Quintal. Kevin Quintal, as well as riding in this championship, has been taking part in some Japanese series. There's a Suzuka series for 600s, and he's just returned from Europe. We're getting lots and lots of experience, Kevin Quintal, and of course in this championship he's going to be looking for better things. He's got Ray Ratakore in front of him, he's got Shunchen Zhang just behind him, and the number 41 going through there is Irfan Haikal. Irfan Haikal qualified on pole position, his first pole position, indeed his first front row qualification in this category, but unfortunately didn't finish yesterday. Didn't quite put the race together that we were hoping for, but still just 16 years old, plenty of time to go, and there's no doubting his talent. Here we're looking at the number 461 for Victor Racing Team, that's Wang Jiadong, regular Chinese rider in this championship. Yesterday Wang finished in P20. 24 finishes yesterday. Getting good experience. His best lap, let's take a look. His best lap yesterday was a 151.44. So he's pretty much on his race pace, and of course looking for improvements. And there is Sharifuddin Azman for Idemitsu Bunshu Honda, former Moto3 rider, moving to production bikes in AP250s this season. He's made the adjustment well and was always in the leading group yesterday. In the end, he finished 8th, 1.8 seconds down on Ray Ratakuri. Ray Ratakuri made such a good move through the final sector, sector 4, and he actually won by 0.6 of a second. Coming through to second with some really good racecraft and opportunistic tactics was Cao Vietnam, the Vietnamese rider. So that added to the story, and adding further to the story was Ferozi Torakatula, who broke his leg in China, missed Motegi and came back to finish on the podium yesterday. So that was a fantastic recovery from the young Indonesian. Staying there with Sharifuddin. Damok, as he is known to his Malaysian fans. So you can see him there coming round turn 16. Wide sweeping line. Such a wide part of the circuit that these bikes look absolutely minuscule as they come round. He's gunning for the line. He comes across, he moves up to second fastest. Second fastest with 148.041, which is just a few hundredths slower than Araya Gaska for Yamaha Racing Indonesia, who's recorded the fastest time so far. 2 minutes left in this 15-minute session. There is Cao Vietnam, who had such a brilliant race to pick up that P2 yesterday. He crosses the line now. He's 10th fastest. Oh, he's just been bumped down by Ferozi to 11th. So 11th fastest in his warm-up session, if that's important. Going through on your screen there for SDG Team Hark Pro is Alfonsi the Guigan. That's the number 51. Ahead of him is Galang Hendra on the familiar number 56, but less familiar colours. He faded in yesterday's race to finish 14th. But of course, looking very competitive. He was right up in the mix earlier in the race. That is Araya Gaska, who was at the top of the timing screen. That place has been taken over by Herjan Atner. Ferozi has improved, but he's now second. 147.6 is the time set by Herjan Atner. Herjan really had to dig deep for this season to keep his championship campaign alive. We often tended to see or feel there was some advantage to this brilliant Astra Honda racing team. There were some rule changes to make it more difficult. He's got a rev cut under the system of performance equalization that we have in AP250 to keep the racing competitive. And he's responded by working on his riding style, getting more speed through the corners, and doing an absolutely brilliant job. It might have been a tough ask for the young Indonesian, Herjan, but he's responded really well and learned from it and gained the respect of all concerned. With the possible exception, I joke of course, of his 15-year-old teammate Kiandra Ramadipa, who's actually leading the championship right now. At the top, it's Kiandra with 91 points, 5 points ahead of his senior teammate Herjan. And then there's another 15-year-old Indonesian, third place in the standings, Arai Agaska. Checkered flag is out now for the AP250 warm-up. Just looking down to see if there's anything significant there. Wildcard, Irfan Ardiansya, the number 16, is 7th. Kandra Hermawan, who's been going so well all weekend as a wildcard for Yamaha Racing Indonesia. 8th, Irfan Haikal will be looking to convert his pole position into something more impressive this afternoon's race 2. Ray Ratakori, yesterday's winner, 11th. Just looking for Kiandra in 10th. They were looking at Galang Hendra, and it's worth looking at because the livery that he's running is the classic red and white speed block Yamaha graphic. Trying out new setup. The conditions which remain cool, it's about 26 degrees air temperature, 36 degrees track temperature. So cool by the standards of Mandalika for sure. See those results come up shortly just to confirm. See if there are any pointers there for this afternoon. They'll be looking to improve as well. I think the wind is a little less blowy than it was. We had blustery conditions yesterday that would have affected the underbones the most. Just taking a look around the circuit while we wait for the graphic to come up to give us those results, and here they are. Perjanatna Firdaus for Astra Honda Racing Team, 147.638 was his best time. That's a very decent time indeed. Ferozi Torakatula, back from injury and straight onto the podium. Third, fourth, Ray Ratakori, fifth. Position in race 2 this afternoon. Long Nam Tzu for Victor Racing Team, 27th, Shenzhen for TY Antares Racing Team, the Chinese team there. 27th in this morning warm-up session. So next up, you won't be surprised to know, is the Supersport 600. I just said the wind was a little bit lighter. I can see outside from the flags fluttering that they're fluttering a little bit more horizontally than they were a few moments ago. So breezy conditions, a little bit cloudy. It looks as though the sun's winning the battle, but we're going to take a 5-minute break, and when we come back, it will be with the warm-up session for the Supersport 600s. So stay with us. We're coming to you live from Mandalika for round 4 of the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship. Welcome back to Sunday morning warm-up here at Pertamina Mandalika International Circuit. We are here for round 4 of the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship. Here come the Supersport 600s for their 15-minute warm-up session this morning. Green flags wave as the riders come out. And my goodness, we had some drama yesterday. The first thing to say right up front, because if you watched the race yesterday, you would have seen Adinanta Putra cross the line second. In fact, he was penalised 3 seconds for a yellow flag infringement, meaning overtaking under yellow flags, and that dropped him from second to 4th position. And that promoted Helmi Asman up to second and promoted Vida Ega Pratama for Astra Honda up to P3 for his first Supersport podium for the 15-year-old. So a little bit of drama there, and while you could feel sympathetic for Adinanta, the rules are there for a reason. It is a safety rule, and it's difficult in the heat of the moment sometimes to take in everything around you, like the flags. But let's talk about this number 20 on the screen now. Absolutely supreme performance from Idemitsu Bunchu Honda's Azroy Hakim Anwar yesterday. He never looked like losing the race. He looked confident from the start, although he had some struggles in free practice and qualifying. It all came together. There was something about the glint in his eye on the grid that showed some belief that he could turn in a race win. His second of the season indeed. He won in China. Unfortunately for him, he started the season with 2 really unfortunate DNFs at Chang International Circuit. Number 54 just gone through ahead there of Azroy. It was Vida Ega Pratama for Astra Honda, the brilliant 15-year-old. And Vida Ega, we've been talking during the first 3 rounds of this season of how long it would take him to really get to grips with the 600, because he's not big for a 15-year-old by any stretch of the imagination. We've been talking about him growing into this class, the heavier bikes, the extra power and so on. We didn't even mention it yesterday because he looked so strong, so competitive on the 600, and for a while looking like a potential race winner. So Vida Ega has arrived in Supersport 600s. We know his brilliance on 250s from last year. He didn't attend every race last year because he was also running in the Asia Talent Cup, which he won by more than 100 points. So he absolutely crushed it in the Asia Talent Cup. And now he has proved that he's worth the step up to 600s. He's running there with Tanat Longpliao, who's been running well, another class rookie. Behind him, he's got the experienced number 99 of Dimaseki Pratama, running the team, the Sklofermen racing team, on that very well turned out Honda. And there is Helmi Asman, promoted to second after that penalty handed to Adinanta Putra, but he came through really well on track to finish third because he had a miserable qualifying session, hardly came out. The qualifying tyres weren't working for him, so he started 10th and came through really well to finish on the track third, and then had that boost up to P2, so another 20 points for Helmi yesterday. There is Dimaseki, and you can see just how well put together that Honda seems to be, and no shortage of speed either. Helmi having a look there. And Fadila Arbi in as a wild card for Astra Honda, having a good look at the Malaysian, who now must be, it's confusing to count the seasons because of the COVID interruption, but must be 5 seasons, I'm guessing. 4 or 5 seasons for Helmi in the Supersport category. One of the leaders, always expected to be somewhere at or near the front or winning. Winning yesterday was this rider coming through on the screen there, number 20, Azroy Hakim Anwar. And number 50 there is that of Kengo Nagao, who really lit proceedings up for us last time out in his home race at Motegi, where he appeared as a wild card. This time he's in as a replacement rider for the injured Andy Fadley for Yamaha Racing Indonesia, so that was a really nice deal put together. He has had his struggles, Kengo Nagao, so far. A couple of crashes in qualifying and results yesterday. He's much further down the order than we would have expected, finishing 11th. So there's Veda Ega, the number 54. Number 89 is Wayne Agroho, who's probably been a little disappointed with his race yesterday, race result. He finished in 9th. Kinley Carl-Paz is the number 23, just behind Wayu for Yamaha Techni Racing Team Asia. Kyle finished 12th yesterday, so another rider finishing further down than we would have expected. Kyle was the 2019 Underbone champion, which was before this season, the last time we'd seen him in ARRC, and a big name back in his home country of the Philippines. They're tracking Wayu Nugroho. And his teammate in Yamaha Techni is Apiwat Wongtananon. We saw briefly a few moments ago on screen. Is Apiwat Wongtananon, who came in with a handsome 37-point lead to this weekend. That lead has been cut. Apiwat injured himself, to be precise. He sustained a fracture to his left wrist 2 weeks ago in a domestic race in Thailand at Chang International Circuit. So while we haven't had a chance to speak to him this weekend, the assumption must be that he's here to do some damage limitation and get out and finish as high up the order as he can, given his physical disadvantage. We know how tough he is, and there he is, the number 24, just swooping through there, ahead of Kengo Nagao. Those two had such a fantastic battle last time out in Motegi, swapping first and second places between race 1 and race 2. Absolutely brilliant. Apiwat won race 1, Kengo was second. Race 2, Kengo was first, Apiwat was second. But neither of them look like they're going to repeat that level of performance. So Apiwat, no shortage of grit. He was really quick in the early stages of the race yesterday. Faded to 7th as the race wore on. He's just taking a look up the inside there of Adananta, who would have been frustrated by his penalty and the drop of 2 places yesterday. But that's racing, and those rules are there for a good reason. Fastest on track in this 15-minute session, we're 2/3 of the way through it, is Helmi Asman, who did look so good, so quick in the race yesterday, although had the disadvantage of starting from 10th on the grid. Vida Ega promoted to 3rd yesterday, 2nd. Gyatisat Singapong, who's looking increasingly good for Honda Racing Thailand, is currently 3rd quickest with 1:38.9. Adenanta 4th quickest, 5th Apiwat, 6th Asroy. Staying there with Kengo. Kengo, you know what he's capable of. This is his first trip to Mandalika, so he has been doing well, but his progress was truncated a bit yesterday by 2 crashes in qualifying, so he'll be looking to improve today. Pit stop for him. The pit entry there is just before the entrance to the final turn, turn 17. So there is the number 54, Vida Ega Pratama, getting really quick now. Pole position yesterday, and P3, his first podium finish on the Supersport 600s, and he looks comfortable. He doesn't look overwhelmed in any way, shape or form now that he's on the 600. You can look at that style now. The body language is so much more confident than we saw earlier in the season. Yes, he's at a familiar circuit, but I do think that he's just stepped over the threshold where he can really ride a 600 as it needs to be ridden. Very special rider, Vida Ega Pratama. Expect to see a lot more of him in his career, just 15 years old now. Another prodigy coming through the talent development system of Astra Honda. There's just such an abundance of talent coming through from Indonesia, not only from Honda but also for Yamaha Racing Indonesia. We have Arai Agaska, appeared as a wild card in Underbone's Arai this round last year, and won race 2. Now going really well in AP 250s. Behind Vida there is the Yamaha, Wayu Nugroho. Wayu stepping up from AP 250s to 600s. He made a really good start in Chang International, but has faded since then. Not quite sure why, because he did look really good on the move up engine capacity. We're staying here with Vida. He negotiates long loop. It's 2 corners, turns 15 and 16, but it's when you're on the circuit, it's 1 long turn that tightens up, and he comes round the left-hander that leads on to the home straight. Across the line again. The speed trap is just before the braking area on the straight. And the fastest rider through there has been McKinley Carl Paz, 242.7 kilometers per hour. Best time still belongs to Helmi Asman. Vida the next best, and the ever-improving Kiatisak Singapong for Honda Racing Thailand 3rd. There's a minute or so left, so another lap coming in for Singapong. He's currently in sector 2. I don't think he's going to improve his time unless he really finds something in sector 2. There is Adenanta Putra, number 21. Getting increasingly strong. Last year was his rookie season in Supersport 600s. This season he's really making his mark, 2nd in the standings. Some way behind Apiwat, because Apiwat until yesterday had only ever finished either 1st or 2nd in every race. Adenanta on 91 points, would have closed the gap yesterday. Apiwat finished 7th, he's on 124 points now. So still a good gap, and Apiwat working on limiting the damage to that lead. Back with Kiatisak. He completes his warm-up session, passes the checkered flags. Best time for him, 138.721. race times yesterday. That was decent race time, mid 1:38s. So Kiatisak can go confidently into race 2 this afternoon. He'll be starting from 9th on the grid. A bit of work to do for the young Thai. He'll be starting next to this rider, number 32, Helmi Asman, who'll start 10th. Helmi doesn't bother with the checkered flag, but pulls into the pits. Adananta, oh sorry, that's 31, not 21. That's Tanat Longpliao, Kiatisak's teammate, going through. Leader goes through, and that's pretty much it, I think, for... Yeah, that's it for the Supersport 600s. As Adananta does come through. There we are, nice look at the foliage here at Pertamina Mandalika, and here are the results from the warm-up. Helmi Asman looking really good for race 2 this afternoon. His best time 1:38.159. Vida Ega Pratama, who will start from pole position this afternoon for Astra Honda, was second quickest in that warm-up session. Kiatisak Singapong for Honda Racing Thailand, third Adananta Putra, fourth quickest, fifth quickest Apiwat Wongtananon, 1:39.3 for the Thai Championship leader. Azroy Hakim Anwar, yesterday's winner, sixth. 7th McKinley Carl Paz, and 8th Wayne Agroho for Yamaha Racing Indonesia. 9th quickest was Kengo Nagao, finished 10th yesterday. Replacement rider for Yamaha Racing Indonesia, replacing Andy Fadley. Dimasaki Pratama, wildcard returning to ARRC, was 10th fastest. 11th Tanat for Honda Racing Thailand. 12th Reza Danica Arens, who had a very decent outing yesterday. Fadila RB Aditama, a wildcard in for Astra Honda. They've got 4 riders in this weekend. And Sharjin Tong for Victor Racing Team, 14th quickest to 1:42.208 for him. So we are 4/5 of the way through the warm-up sessions. The final one will be the ASB 1000s. Coming up shortly, so we are going to take a break while that happens. We may be hearing from Daniel down in pit lane. I know he's been really busy on his Intrepid way, but we will be back at 11:30 local time. That is in 11 minutes from now. Sorry, we'll be back at 10:25. So that is in 6 minutes from now with the ASB 1000 warm-up session. That's a 20-minute session. And my goodness, we had some drama. We almost had some tears yesterday. So stay with us. We are coming to you live from Pertamina Mandalika International Circuit for round 4 of the 2024 Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship.
Idemitsu IRG7. Race-bred nano-tailored oil for enhanced acceleration and horsepower. Even in harsh conditions, the 7 protective benefits of septic guard technology keep your engine performing at its peak. Even a split-second advantage can change everything. Born to win. Idemitsu IRG7.
Welcome back, everyone. The sound you can hear is the sound of a variety of 1000cc superbike engines. 4 manufacturers in this ASB 1000 class for the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship, coming to you this weekend for round 4. And we're at Pertamina, Mandalika, on the fabulous island of Lombok. Normally peaceful holiday island is having the silence shattered on its southern coast by the music that you can hear now. Coming out onto pit lane for the beginning of this warm-up session, and his outlap coming out a little later than the others was Kasper Daniel Kasmayedin. Already getting down to business, so the riders you can see on the screen there, that is Aslan Shah. Aslan Shah came in to this weekend second in the championship. It's a really tight group at competing for honours over the course of the 2024 season. Just a handful of points covering the top riders. It hasn't been a good weekend for Aslan, so he's dropped from second to 5th. He finished down in 10th position yesterday and hasn't really looked threatening as he normally does here at Mandalika this weekend. The rider he just went past is Osama Murray. He's on the Victor Racing Yamaha R1. Osama yesterday finished 11th. Second visit to Mandalika for Osama. It's good to see him in the championship and progressing. These two riders here. Well, the number 83 was arguably the story if you're of a romantic disposition. Is Lachlan Epis on the number 83 BMW, scored his first podium in the ARC ASB 1000 category, and one of the riders he passed on the way to that podium position was the rider in front of him, the JDT Ducati of Hafiz Sharin. So a breakthrough in the ARC career for Lachlan Epis. Hafiz biting back, but you can see just how pumped Lachlan is after that magnificent result yesterday. Just playing with each other, these two. Hafiz getting frustrated, or perhaps a little bit affronted by the impudence of the young Australian. Taking a look around, deciding not to get involved. See that Lachlan really does have his dander up, and Hafiz clearly not happy. But we were close to tears of joy here yesterday as he came through so quickly later in the race. In the last few laps he was the fastest rider on track, and he made his way through, and it did look that if there had been 14 laps instead of 13 that he would have overhauled Yuki Kuni, who finished second for SDG Team Hark Pro. But we're staying there currently with Hafiz, who decided not to get involved in what would have been a pretty pointless fight during this 20-minute warm-up session. Hafiz had problems. He put on a medium front yesterday in a bid to gain some advantage. It didn't work out for him, and he faded during the race to finish back in 7th. So not such a good day for the 30-year-old Malaysian. The winner yesterday was Andy Farid Izdiham, who's had a magnificent season, with the exception of just being a little bit off song in Motegi for round 3. There is Shun Nishimura, who was definitely on song at Motegi, taking a win in race 1. And just noting the tyre choice of the 20-year-old Japanese rider. He's got a hard front and a hard rear. And that is the recommended combination by Dunlop, who provide the tyres. They've got an asymmetric rear tyre here, meaning that because there are far more right-handers than left-handers here at Mandalika, that the compound is more hard-wearing on the right side. Yesterday, all the riders, except the wildcard, Eric Saputra, chose to have a hard front and a medium rear. The late decision to go with a medium front for Hafiz, that didn't work out for him. That's the number 41 on your screen. That is Nakarina Terapuvapat riding for Honda Asia Dream Racing with Astimo. He's the quickest rider so far in this warm-up session, 136.339 for the tie. Former Moto 3 rider. Zakwan Zaidi is next up on the timing screen. Difficult few races for Zakwan. He didn't participate in China because he damaged both hands quite badly during Friday free practice. He was coming back from injury in Motegi, but didn't get the best results there, and has been struggling a little bit this weekend. He's looking as determined and as cheerful as ever, so he'll be looking to improve on yesterday's result. Yesterday Zakwan finished 8th behind Hafiz and 7.3 seconds behind race winner Andy Farid Izdihar. There is Yuki Kuni, who came out of the blocks really fast yesterday, starting from the middle of the front row. Led the early stages of the race. Andy Farid, you have to say, did a brilliant job in overhauling him. We often see Andy do this, come through really strongly in the second part of the race, and he overhauled Yuki Kuni to win by just under 2 seconds. And in the later stages, and at least on the last lap, Yuki Kuni did look as though he was going to come under threat from hard charging Lachlan Epis. Toshiro Minamoto on your screen now, the number 22 for Yamaha Technique Racing, was started from pole position yesterday, made a poor start. He was back in P6 on the first lap, but he gave himself a lot of work to do, and with the quality of the riders at the front and the pace of the race, he was only able to come through to finish 4th. So despite his speed and quality, Toshiro Minamoto, P4 is his best finishing position. That's his second P4 of the season for the Japanese rider. So he's going to look to turn his pole position into, at the very least, a podium position, and preferably a win. And down there is Aslan Shah. He's taking a moment. Hopefully he's not hurt, but he landed on asphalt, so hopefully that wasn't too hard a bump for the Malaysian. So that's really unfortunate. It hurt in warm-up. At the top of the timing screen now, this is interesting. Kazma Daniel Kazmayuddin, 135.722 for the Yamaha Technique Racing rider, Soichiro's teammate. There he is, Kazma, just been passed by Soichiro, but that's a good time for Kazma. His best race time yesterday was 136.2, so he's found some more speed. Let's just take a look at that BMW. You can't see Aslan, so hopefully that means he's just walked away. Oh, there's a fast crash. Pretty long slide there for the Malaysian. And that BMW does look a bit battered. So hopefully all will be well, particularly with the rider for this afternoon's race 2. Aslan hasn't been on his best form this weekend. He'll start from 10th this afternoon on the TKKR BMW. We're back with Nakarina Tirapuvapat now. Currently second quickest on track, just over halfway through this 20-minute session. There is Kazma, fastest so far, and put in a time quicker than yesterday's race time. So whatever was dogging him yesterday seems to have been put behind him. Hopefully that will work out well for the race. It'd be fantastic to see Kazma fully competitive and back in the mix. We know what he can do. Really create some excitement on track when he's on form. His starting position is from the middle of the second row, qualified 5th. So we stay with Kazma now. This is a circuit that should suit the Yamaha R1. They're not the quickest in a straight line, but the fast-flowing nature of this circuit and the hard braking, challenging turn 15, 16 at the end of the lap in sector 4 very much suits the sweet handling Yamaha. Fastest lap of the race yesterday. Some data in here. Andy Farid's fastest lap. Yeah, he got the fastest lap, 135.8. 135.88. In fact, that was Yuki Kuni. So that is a very, very decent time there from Kazma. Crosses the line again. Is significantly slower, 139. We're really looking for pace. So hopefully if he stays out and he keeps the hammer down, we'll see him convert that really good time into race pace. Top of the timing screens right now is Kazma Daniel, Macarena Terapuvapat, Soichiro Minamoto. So Nakarin sandwich between two Yamahas. Yuki Kuni, who was P2 yesterday, in 4th. Better from Zakwan today as well. Best time of 136.477 for him. And there is yesterday's race winner, Andy Farid Izdiha. Brilliantly judged win once again from the Indonesian. His best time so far in this warm-up session has been 136.7. He's getting a move on now through sector 1 pretty quickly. Let's see how he goes. Daniel Bogus, I'm delighted to say, has just joined me for the last few minutes.
Yeah, I couldn't miss warm-up all the way. But
well,
yeah,
you're looking hot, so you've obviously been doing some rushing around down there.
yeah, it's been more walking than I did yesterday, but the weather is better, I'd say. It's a bit warmer, so I think wind is still there, so we will have some windy conditions, but it's definitely warmer, so I think we can expect more riders to go with the harder option rear. We've heard some riders, as Dunlop did state, that they may run into trouble with the medium rears. Some didn't, some did, so it's a mixed match for the riders in terms of tire selection. And I did get some interesting information from the Evolution Sports Group. So they've really tried to use Toprak as an example for the way they do things this weekend, and clearly it's been working very well for Lachlan.
Oh, that's fascinating, because nobody rides a bike quite like Toprak Razgatlioglu, right?
Exactly. So I was very interested to hear that, and yeah, it's clearly working for them. They're making the right steps forward. Lachlan is maturing and growing fantastically as a rider.
Yeah, that was a wonderful win. You know, possibly the story of a day full of stories yesterday in just about every category. There is Yuki Kuni, who's been brilliant once again. He won in race 2 in Motegi. He was second yesterday, although he was chased really hard by Lachlan later in the race, and we were speculating that one more lap might have just done it for him, but he was really quick. The other thing quickly, I don't know whether you've got any information on this, Daniel. I was commenting on the speed in this session of Casper Daniel.
Yep.
Who has lapped faster than the best race time yesterday.
Yeah, I think Kasma, I had a chat with him after the race yesterday, and he seemed positive. He felt that it was just unfortunate he got held up a bit when he started getting some pace. So the pace did come later on for Kasma. I think he was doing somewhat what Andy would be doing as well, just waiting until you get about half race distance and start to push then, because they were both well, 99% of them were on the medium rears. But as we can see today, we got Yuki on the hard option rear, so I have a high suspicion that Yuki will be racing on that hard option rear, because he did run into tire problems at the end, at the last 4 or 5 laps.
Yeah, we did see Yuki coming out on hard front, hard rear before anybody else. That is the prescribed recommended tire by Dunlop, who might have been a little bit miffed that everybody went out on medium rears yesterday, because that tire was developed with Mandalika in mind.
Yeah, the only one who followed the suggestion was Eric Saputra.
Exactly, yeah. Well, a bit of perhaps I told you so from Dunlop. Let's see. Anyway, Yuki was brilliant again yesterday.
He'll be hunting for that race win later on this afternoon. He had it in his hands. He had a huge gap at the start, but once that tire started dropping grip-wise, he just couldn't make any way around. And it was similarly for Hafiz Sharin, a really unfortunate race for him. Had a decent start, was trying to chase behind Yuki, but it was about 5-6 laps in. Immediately he had issues with the front tire. And from what we heard in the post-race interview on social media, he mentioned that tire pressure dropped remarkably on the front. So they will be testing it out this morning. And pace-wise, we know the Ducati and Hafiz, they're doing great. So if they just get the tire selection right, and we should have no issue seeing a 3-4 rider battle for the win.
Yeah, there was clearly problems from the way he dropped down the field, eventually finishing 7th yesterday. Also disappointing yesterday was this rider, Soichiro Minamoto, starting from pole position, making a poor start, trundling round 6th on lap 1, and against the level of this competition he was able to come back to 4th. That's 2 P4s, best results of the season, best result of his ARRC Superbike career.
Yeah, but I would say that's because his bike was absolutely destroyed, and I spoke to Soichiro before the race, well, before they even got the bike all back together. He said the only thing that they could salvage from his crash was the engine. Every single other part was new, so the geometry of the bike would be slightly different. For sure, something's feeling a bit different for him. So this morning's warm-up session is really, really important for Soichiro. They need to get that bike similarly into the feeling of what he had on Friday. Because yeah, yesterday's race was tough on him. His only test lap with the bike was the formation lap and the warm-up lap.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, there was clearly something not right, as we were discussing here, but there is Hafiz on hard front, hard rear.
Yeah, he was one of the first to test it after Yuki did. So I think it's a good move from Hafiz. We know Hafiz's consistency, so if they can just hold on and try to slow down whoever is on the medium rears, maybe just hold them up a bit. By the end of the race, they'll have the pace and the grip left for the final few laps.
Yeah, fantastic shot there of Hafiz. Yeah, my takeaway from this warm-up session, can't often judge too much, is that hopefully, well, really from the Yamaha Technic garage, Soichiro hopefully he's got his bike nice and straight and with the right setup, and also Kazma, whose best lap was half a second quicker than his best race lap yesterday, and faster than the best lap of anybody yesterday.
The thing I was happy to see with Kazma is after the race he seemed confident that today would be a good day, and I think he knows what he needs to do for race 2. He needs to get a good start. He needs to get within that front pack immediately, and if he can get into that position and just hold them for a bit, I don't think we should rule out the possibility of a Kazma Daniel podium this weekend.
Yeah, the checkered flag is out. This 20-minute warm-up session for ASB 1000 is done as we watch that that gorgeous Ducati of Hafiz Shirin JDT Racing cross the line. There's Nakarin, who's going to be happy with his warm-up session. 1:35.8, really quick time for him as well. That was about the same as the best race time we saw yesterday. In fact, temperatures were a bit warmer at the time, and we're going to expect them now. There's some sun coming down on the track. They will get warmer later. But there it is. That's a really impressive time from Kazma this morning. 1:35.722. Yamaha Techni Racing Team Asia have done some good work there, and so has Kazma. Second quickest, Nakarena Tirupuvapat for Honda Asia Dream Racing with Astimo. Soichiro Minamoto also looking good. Fourth place, Yuki Kuni, yesterday's second place finisher. Zakwan Zaidi, decent warm-up session for him. Hopefully he'll be showing what he's made of this afternoon. Lachlan Epis, who scored that emotional third place yesterday. Sixth fastest, Andy Farid, yesterday's winner, was seventh. Eighth fastest, Shona Shimura. Looking further down, Hafiz Shirin for JDT Racing was ninth quickest. Aslan Shah for TKKR BMW, who had a hard crash. Hopefully he's okay. Was 10th quickest. That was his finishing position yesterday. 11th was Osama Murray for Victor Racing Team. Cho Yu Zhou, Savitar ESG Team Asia, was 12th fastest. And Eric Saputra for Yamaha Carglass RRS with a 1:44.592 was 13th. So that's it. The warm-ups are done for this fourth round. This is the third day. We'll be back for race 2 this afternoon. Before that happens, starting at 11 o'clock, so in just about 10 minutes from now, will be the pit walk. So if you are listening and you are anywhere near, make your way to the pit lane, and that's your chance to come and meet the riders, pick up some freebies, some stickers, some t-shirts if you're lucky, and take some photos with the riders. Always a bit of a carnival, the ARRC pit walk, so come along and meet us if you can. We're going to be back for race 2 this afternoon at around about 1 o'clock. First race will be the TVS Asia 1 make, which is scheduled to start at 13:05 local time. Daniel and I will be joined by the mighty Des Corkhill, who will be taking us through this afternoon for the race 2. There is the schedule there. Hope to see you on pit walk. If not, we will be back with you this afternoon at 1 o'clock for race 2 of round 4 of the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship. See you later.
Idemitsu IRG5. Start like a rocket and ship like silk with super bike proven nano-tailored oil. Ultra protective Quintec guard technology distills the wisdom of oil experts. 5 protective benefits in harmony unleash the peak performance of your engine. Nano Silky Tech ensures extra smooth upshifting at high RPM. Rocket starts, silky shifts. Idemitsu IRG5.